All right, everyone, it's your boy Fernie here back with another new news of the day video. This time for May 22nd, 2025. Once again, I'm just going to share some random news that I find online and then be able to give my thoughts and opinions on them. As always, these come from the Google News website. I look at a lot of stuff involving local news there in Vegas, also business news, entertainment news, and so on. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's start this here. As always, let me know what you guys and gals think, your own opinions as well. So, the first screen, perfect. Looks like it's looking good. So, this has to do with, that's even better, Las Vegas. So, it says here, this is from LasVegasWeekly.com. Las Vegas tourism faces uncertainty under divisive federal policies. I'll try not to keep this as I'll try to keep this as little as possible when it comes to politics, but I just wanted to showcase this because there is apparently year over year visitation being down. And so let's see what it says here. The year 2024 served as a victory lap of sorts in Las Vegas tourism. Emboldened by Super Bowl, this Las Vegas set a high mark for spending, pulling in 55 billion. Wow, just shy of the all-time high of 42.5 million visitors. Interesting stuff. But now it says here in 2025, year-over-year visitation, at least through March, has been down 6.9% compared to last year. And then it says here 3.7% fewer passengers flew to and from, and hotel occupancy was down 4.8%. Those look like small percentages, but when you're considering the number of visitors and the dollars spent, that really adds up. I think one of the biggest factors, even though this article here will start getting into some politics, I think one of the biggest factors though is costs. It is true. Things are more expensive now in Las Vegas. Yeah, you're going to spend more at the hotel, more on food, more on entertainment. Everything involves tips, fees as well that are being added on. It's just so much information, so much new cost. So I'm going to see here if it showcases it. No, it doesn't even mention a single word involving costs. So I don't know. I think that's the biggest factor of all. People are stating that on Reddit. People are stating that on comments associated with news articles. Everything is more expensive in Las Vegas. And when it's more expensive, you get less bang for your buck. Then that means that more people are going to be skipping out on going to Vegas. So we'll see. Are you one of those people as well? Is your usual trip to Vegas being delayed because of the higher cost? The percentages that I just mentioned certainly seem to indicate that. So let's see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and let's share the next one here. This one happens to involve the world of gaming. There we go. This is from arstechnica.com. It says here why console makers can legally brick your game console. If the ability to brick a console is there, someone will want to see how it goes. This interested me because of the clickbait title. So let's see what it says. Nintendo received a lot of negative attention for an end-user license agreement. And it says to render Switch consoles permanently unusual and whole apart for violations such as suspected hacking or piracy. That seems like a given. I don't know why that would be a surprise to anyone. As it turns out, though, Nintendo isn't the only console manufacturer that threatens to remotely brick systems in response to rule violations, and attorneys tell Ars Technica that they're probably over in their legal rights to do so. Sony is apparently doing that. PS5 involves remedies and violations for modified hardware or pirated software. Again, another instance that just is like, no duh, makes sense. The article, I thought with the clickbait title, makes it seem like if the gaming consoles just wanted to do it out of the blue, they can for any reason whatsoever. They probably still can, but that wouldn't make much business sense, especially with the heavy competition between different platforms. You're going to have each one wanting to court as many players as possible. So to have them just brick consoles on their own without much reason, that's not good business. So, but it looks like here it's strictly just involving piracy. This is an example of it here. A prototype SX core device soldered to a Nintendo Switch. Hmm. Why would somebody do that though? Like, what are you gonna do? Try to download games that shouldn't be there? Is that it? It says here in 2015, Microsoft went so far as to deny reports that it break the console associated with a leak of early Gears of War beta. Again, another situation that makes sense. There are online reports of people buying used consoles only to be rendered entirely useless due to prior theft. So if your console got stolen, apparently there's a way for you to report it stolen, and then that means anyone who buys it, even if it's a unsuspecting innocent person thinking they're buying it from somebody that legitimately had that console, then it's bye-bye. I never run into these problems because, as I mentioned before on my channel, I've given up the console wars a long time ago, long time ago. Once it got out of hand and you had to keep switching to newer models, I was like, no, thank you. And it's been good ever since. But a lot of you fans are definitely gamers out there. Consoles like these may get banned from Nintendo's online services, but they seem to work. I don't know what this is. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It reminds me of the articles that state that online streaming services that you buy from, like Apple or Amazon, whatever you buy, movies or TV shows from them, that at any point, even though you bought the thing, it's can be taken away because it's under their platform. But I've yet to hear somebody mention that that's what's happened, because again, that would just lead to so much hoopla of people just moaning and griping and everything, rightfully so, because they paid good bucks for a movie or a TV series to own it, and then it's gone. It's not going to happen. Doesn't make much sense. Streaming, like if you're just watching something that's streaming and it's there and it's gone afterward, that makes sense. We see that all the time. But if you own something, so far it seems like everything is there and it's yours. All right, let's go to the next one. How do you like that background music too? Another bit of Las Vegas news. I got this one because this is a place that I've been to in the past. This is from news3lv.com. Ethel M donates $300,000 from Holiday Gardens to Las Vegas nonprofits. So a bit of good news there, right? If you haven't been to Ethel M, I learned about that place, wonderful place, from a tour that I did in Las Vegas a couple years back. It was one of those nice small bus tours that went through several stops, and this was the final stop. Ethel M is a location where they have chocolates, and they make the chocolates there, they sell the chocolates there, and then they ship the chocolates, I think, worldwide from that location. So it was a nice little treat. But they're also famous for their garden. I was there during the daytime, so I didn't get to see anything as far as how the garden lights up, kind of like what it shows here. But still, they're very, very famous for it, especially during the holiday. They recently donated $300,000 from recent holiday garden activations to two Las Vegas area nonprofits. Representatives from Three Square and Help of Southern Nevada accepted the donation. Good for them. Short article. Ethel M will continue to community for its 32nd annual holiday cactus garden, beginning the first week of November. So if I was there during the holiday season, I could have gone seeing how those lights look, I guess. I don't know how far that is from the Las Vegas Strip, but still, nice little bit of short news there. And I do recommend, if you're in Las Vegas, go check them out. You won't regret it. They have, of course, like any other place, nice little gift shop there, and of course, it's going to be all chocolates. And I bought a small handful of them for a bunch of friends and family. All right, this is interesting here. Oops. Let me make this one larger. I wish it would default to the larger one. This is from DallasNews.com. A woman sues Texas lottery over withholding $83.5 million jackpot. That is huge. Let's see what they say. State investigations of two lottery jackpots have left the Montgomery County winner unable to collect her winnings. Imagine that. The odds of finally winning something like that, and then for whatever reason, it's not going to be given to you. Let's see why. Texas woman is suing the State Lottery Commission to get a payment of $83.5 million she won back in February. The demands Lottery Commission released the winnings. This was after several investigations were announced. The lawyer representing her doesn't say much there. He just says it was thrill victory and the agony of defeat. She's been caught in a situation where she thought her life had changed. Now it's been jerked out from under her and no one's given her a reason why. The woman is not part of a ticket buying consortium or a bulk ticket purchasing scheme, her lawyer says. I've heard of like large offices that pool together money and they buy, I don't know how many tickets, hundreds, I don't know. And they do that weekly, monthly, something like that. And that obviously increases the odds. She used an app operated by Jackpocket, a courier company that's a subsidiary of DraftKings, to buy a single ticket at Winner's Corner in Austin. That was a long sentence. What was that? So she used an app called Jackpocket, which happens to be a courier company, which happens to be a subsidiary of DraftKings, in order to buy a ticket at a store called Winner's Corner. Wow. It's like layers there. If the Texas Lottery is going to allow people to play by the rules and they don't pay at the end of the day, what integrity does Texas Lottery have? But let's see, what's the reason why? Doesn't seem to say much. Lottery Commissioner Steve Helm says woman's suit is being reviewed. It's subject of external investigation. They don't have additional info to provide. Does not comment on pending litigation and investigations. The lawsuit says the commission's acting deputy executive director and officials declared the woman the winner of the jackpot. So far, she's mysterious. They haven't named her or anything. Let's see. One jackpot for $95 million that was paid in April 23 went to overseas entity. They bought over $25 million ticket. Wow. They bought every possible combination. Wow. This woman purchased it on February 17th. Lawmakers are concerned whether lottery officials violated Texas law by allowing couriers to take online ticket orders to make the system more convenient for customers. So that might be it, huh? Legislators say the system violates the prohibition against telephone and online sales, makes it possible for minors to play the lottery. If it's something like that, why is it still available? If like it would be something banned, no? So this article seems like it's much ado about nothing. Doesn't really say much information about what happened or how it happened, other than closest is pending investigation, and they don't comment on it. So, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But at least in her case, she's definitely lawyered up, and so we'll see what happens afterward. All right, let's present the next article. This one is going to hit close to home for a lot of you people out there. that time of the year, right? Summertime. This is again from Las Vegas. News3lv.com. Las Vegas hits 100 degrees Fahrenheit for the first time. It's that time of the year. Las Vegas is infamous for being well above 100, like 110, 114, stuff like that. That was it. As of 3:21 p.m., Las Vegas has reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit for the first time in 2025. 3 short sentences. That's it. That's the article. So yeah, that's the reason I got it, is because that's a hallmark there in Las Vegas of super high temperatures. Stay cool out there. Stay watered. Stay in the shadows if you have to be out there. I remember one time being in Las Vegas in August, which was the absolute worst. I never ever did that again. 100 plus degrees every single day. You just want to stay in the hotel. You don't want to go out. You don't want to do anything, at least during the daytime, because of how hot it is. All right. Next one, once again, is from the world of Las Vegas. Casino.org. Caesars Entertainment sued for alleged assault outside Las Vegas Strip restaurant. I got this because these are the restaurants that are literally right there on the strip. You could eat outside, you could wait outside, whatever. But it looks like that's what happened to this person. A Nevada woman is suing multiple properties for failing to act following a gruesome attack she suffered 2 years ago at a restaurant. This is the restaurant, Off the Strip Bistro and Bar. Never heard of them. I hardly ever go to that area. It says here it's by the Link. This is more like a very middle of the Strip area that I hardly frequent. Anybody know that restaurant? According to Las Vegas Review Journal, Melissa Danielle Miles claims she was violently assaulted near the bathroom of the Off the Strip on June 8th, 2023. 2 women she did not know struck her in the face, slammed on the wall, resulting in permanent injuries. Oh, so this was inside. Was it inside the restaurant? It says near the bathroom off the Strip Bistro. Yeah, it had to have been inside. Says she was observed after attack but ignored by untrained, ill-equipped security staffers while wandering, visibly bloodied and disoriented. She suffered from cognitive impairment and trauma. She's seeking general damages in excess of $15,000. Special damages to be determined in trial, interest, statutory rate, attorney's fees, and court costs. Okay. So not much info, but apparently that happened there within the location. You have to be really, really careful there in Las Vegas. I have seen nothing like this, but some situations where people are running. Obviously, they've stolen something from a location, and then shortly after, like a second or two after, you see a bunch of cops or security running after them as well. I've seen videos online of people being pinned against a wall, either by cops or security, because of what they were doing, unknown what. So yeah, just be careful when you're in Las Vegas, and stay safe, definitely. All right, next one here. This is for anybody daring to travel this holiday weekend. Not me. American, United, Southwest, Delta, Frontier gear for skyrocketing increase of airline passengers as U.S. Memorial Day travel weekend begins. Absolutely not. I will not travel during these type of weekends ever. What do people expect? it's like a cycle. You'll see the pictures pop up on social media feeds, and people going, "Oh," or they're going again, or something along those lines, or saying like FML stuff like that, and it's the entire airport full of people in a line. What do you expect if you go on a time like this? Like, just stay away. Um, I travel nothing during these busy periods, especially on airplanes. Maybe if it's a long shot, it'll be by car. And even then, it'll be early in the day, late at night type stuff. So it says here, still keep the demands keep rising. Why? Because more they travel because like other stakes are higher, crowds are bigger. So what's happening behind the scenes and so on. I'm wondering. Let me see if it tells figures of what's expected. This is probably one of those weekends where if you work at any of these companies, it's like a blackout holiday for them. Like, you probably can't ask off or anything like that. Somebody let me know if I'm right on that. Travelers, agents, crews all must be ready. Okay, here we go. Here are the facts. Memorial Weekend 2025 is poised to kick off with a bang, and not just fireworks. Airports across the United States are preparing for a staggering 18 million passengers between Thursday, May 22nd, and Wednesday, May 28th. I thought it would be more than that. 18 million? That's like less than 10% of the US population. Less than 10% of people are going to be traveling for real by airport. The TSA is sounding the alarm. High traffic is guaranteed. It's a pressure test for the nation's aviation structure. This 18 million passengers represents a 6% increase from last year. Wow. Real ID deadline looms. I already have one of those. If you don't have it, definitely get it. How flyers can stay ahead. Check your ID now. Yeah. Download your boarding pass. Yeah. Use expedited screening options. I don't travel enough to pay for that. Streamline your carry-on. Oh, separate electronics and liquids. That's what that means. Arrive early, really early. Yes. My flights, just because of me having to save money, are either super early or super late. I'm hardly ever during the middle of the day. Airlines strategize to meet demands. Hotel, car rentals, and ripple effects. It says here that hotels are going to surge 20%. Hotels are already near full occupancy. Another reason why travel. Everything's going to be super full, and because of it, it's going to be super expensive. So yeah, that's that info there. More along the lines of a no duh if you're traveling this weekend. Don't be surprised about what happens later on when you and 18 million other people are stuck in the skies there. All right, next one is entertainment news. This was just announced today. Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars delay release dates from May to December. Huge news. There's the beautiful Gwyneth Paltrow, the beautiful Elizabeth Olsen, the beautiful Brie Larson. I don't know who these ladies are. I don't know who this one is in the background. Marvel Studios marquee teams of heroes need a bit of time more to assemble. Originally, it was going to be May 1st. Now it's December 18th, 2026. That's for Avengers Doomsday. And the other one is going to be, instead of May 7th, December 17th, 2027. Wow. Big push. That just means that's probably a good thing. Like, it's about essentially making sure that the movie is going to be held in a high standard, going to be made in a high standard, and not going to be rushed, and so on. Chris Evans is expected to appear in at least one of the two-part movies. Did this article just mention that? Like, did they really do that? Because that was probably going to be a surprise, no? Additionally, a number of characters from Thunderbolts will also appear. These will be two of the biggest titles Marvel has ever made. I'm still mixed about these two films, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars. It's gonna be way too many characters. Way too many characters. If everybody from the Avengers, the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Thor world, the Hulk world, all the TV shows, everything is gonna be all in one. How is that gonna be handled? To me, it's gonna be a wait and see approach. All right. Looks like we got two more articles. This is an interesting bit of news. Looks like a video was playing already. The US will soon mint its last penny. How about that? It currently costs 3.7 cents to make a 1 cent coin. Treasury Department said Thursday it's made its final order of blank pennies this month as it moves to in production of the 1 cent penny. It makes sense because who uses a penny nowadays? And because of the costs involved, it doesn't make sense. I've heard of other countries not having it, and they seem to be fine. So why not cancel it here, right? There's the cost of a penny compared to a cost of a nickel. Wow, so a nickel costs 13 cents to make. Wow. Look at that. A dime costs less. It costs 5 cents to make a dime. Oh, look at that. Even the quarter is better. A quarter costs 14 cents to make a dime. Somebody explain that math to me. How does a penny cost 3 times as much and these other coins cost less? The mint also loses money making a nickel. Notes that demand for penny has decreased dramatically as people increasingly shift their payment habits to cards or digital services like Apple Pay. Yep, agreed. Very rarely do I use cash, and even then, if I have to get a coin, whatever coin, if it's just a really small amount of change, I sometimes just leave it right there in that little tray. What is that tray called? Like sharing for others, something like that. And then if it's more loose change, then I just keep it in a compartment in my car in case it's ever needed for some emergency. So yeah, if it truly is the last couple of days of the penny, so be it. I don't really see it too much as a loss for myself personally when it comes to my own use. What about those of you out there? Do y'all have any other ideas? Like, is it going to be used on your end, a loss, anything like that? Let me know. Final article. This is from Hollywood. HollywoodReporter.com. It says here, inside NBC Universal's Epic Theme Park Kickoff. So apparently Epic Universe, that's what it's called. Epic Universe Theme Park in Orlando opened up on Thursday. They hosted a star-studded party. Wow. So this is in Florida, huh? They're definitely taking on Disney. They brought out Steven Spielberg. Wow. The visionary director was not in attendance, though his voice did boom throughout the park. But as a good friend and creative consultant, Universal's experienced business, his presence was felt, especially in the land based on how to train giant franchise, and so on. The theme park, which officially opened to public Thursday, boasts 4 immersed theme lands. How to Train Your Dragon is one of them. Harry Potter is another one. And I'm not really too much of a fan of Harry Potter. And I haven't seen any of those movies, actually. Super Nintendo World. There we go. I'll take that. Based on the video game giant's legendary IP. And finally, the Dark Universe. Frankenstein, Dracula, and Mummy. I'll take that too. That would seem fun. Visitors to each land pass through a portal before entering the heavily themed areas filled with shop, restaurants, rides, characters, and attractions. Looks like those are the big wigs, the big bosses. Looks like the cast of How to Train Your Dragon was there. Gerard Butler, WE star Cody Rhodes, and so on. How much was the cost, though? It just says a multi-billion-dollar push into the side of entertainment business. Our new park represents single largest investment Comcast has made in theme park business and in Florida. How much was it? While Disney has long been dominant force in theme parks and live experiences, Comcast has responded like the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park. Do they have Jurassic Park there? Isn't that Universal? The reaction to Harry Potter Land. Pretty cool. Anyways, that's the last bit of news. If you're there in Florida, you can definitely have a new theme park that you can go visit. It'll be interesting to see over the years, can they take on Disney? Can they beat Disney? Or is there a lost cause? We shall see. All right, everyone, that's the news for the day. Let me know what you guys and gals think about it in the comments. All right, everyone, take care. Bye.